My name is Everett Curdy, and today I'm going to be talking about symbols. For now, I want to chat about the twins and what they symbolize in astrology and in life. Recall that when a baby is born, sometimes it splits into two babies. It splits, well, maybe you can have more than one baby. Now, there is non-identical and identical twins. Twins that resemble each other exactly, where they want to really be different from one another, where, if the twin has this particular astrological chart and certain traits of that this twin will embody, and then other traits that the other twin will embody. Apparently. Don't take my word for that exactly. However, there is, as I said, identical, not identical. Looks, voice exactly, and there is, like almost like sibling type twins. But regardless, the energy of twins is very dual and split natured, split personality, very yes and no at the same time, like very I want to go this way, but I want to go this way. And there can be a little bit of a fickleness to twins. Now, the sign Gemini's glyph and symbol is the twins. It's the constellation. And indeed, you can see this if you understand the characteristics and traits of Gemini. I remember watching Thomas and Friends and seeing the twins Bill and Ben, who definitely played a lot of tricks on people, on engines, because the engines were symbolized. Um, the engines symbolized children and people, so they played a lot of tricks, and they also got into a lot of tiffs and scuffles and fights with each other. Little arguments, which is a very twin thing to do. And I can tell you that if you've ever seen the Polar Express, and you know that kid with I think he was wearing the yellow, who was very, very enthusiastic, the enthusiastic one, the very bright and spritey sort of person. Well, I believe that he is a Gemini sun. Very, very childlike, very kid-like. Which is very Gemini energy. And you can certainly see this in the twins, which do have a yellow tan sort of color, if I were to put color and color codons towards the different zodiac signs. Gemini, remember, is ruled by Mercury, which is all about communication. And there is this communication and connection, great connection, this interaction of the twins to each other. Triplets can link as well with this. I remember watching a documentary on Hulu, which talked about these three triplets that were separated at birth because they were experimented on by this agency. And the person ruling the agency, who is, I want to say, Julia Child, but not as good as Julia Child. She was like, we only are going to be telling the parents what they reasonably need to hear so that they don't know that when these people leave, that when they find out, we're going to be pouring a glass of champagne and toasting each other because, yay, we passed the test. We got away with it. Success, success, success. They were experimented on. They were taken to non-biological parents, people with cameras and press sort of interviews coming in. and invading their lives. And it really, really was very unethical because at that time, in like the 1950s, people were experimented on because psychology was a new thing. And the ethics and morals did not come out to be yet because of this open mindedness, because of this infamous possibility of so many new things to explore and discover and learn about and come to appreciate the value of what psychology can give. And you can imagine that these people, when they came together, were in awe and in amazement of each other. When they came together for the first time, it was like looking through a mirror, and they mirrored each other. You know, down in the deep locket file, there is the truth about what occurred. There is the lab case written up, but it is yet to be discovered because it is kept a secret to even the people involved with the experiment, which wasn't exactly them. But regardless of that, when they saw each other and met each other the first time, you know, they were just in amazement, and they went out together on the town, um, going to get hot dogs, going to, you know, bars, having a good time, going thrift shopping, and owning a restaurant. And I mean, there was certainly problems that they did have to encounter because they did not all grow up in the same house over the years, where you would learn to get along and compromise and form those bridging connections from one to the other. Um, and so, you know, it's really, really quite fascinating to learn more about. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you watch it. But I want to read to you a little bit of information about where these twins form. You know, kind of where, you know, the mythology of this Greek symbolism, you know, which does not include sitting at a Hell's restaurant because that is not, after all, Greek and it does not serve Greek cuisine. It's not in Greece. However, just some mythological things, which may be Greek or not, but they are mythological, having to do with Castor and Pollux. So I'm going to read to you. So many ancient cultures from the Norse countries, so name Freyr and Freyja, to Nigeria, that'd be the twins of joy and happiness, to Egypt, Nut and Geb, have a myth of the great twins, though the archetype for Gemini was largely inspired by the ancient Greeks. Twins named Castor and Pollux were born to the Queen of Sparta, but Castor was fathered by a mortal, while Pollux was fathered by the king of the gods. Zeus himself, myth tells, that these were fraternal twins that were inseparably loyal to each other, especially on heroic adventures searching for the Golden Fleece among carriage-ridden battlefields. Tragically, the mortal twin, Castor, was lost in battle. When his immortal twin, Pollux, begged his divine father, Zeus, to reunite them, the Olympian king placed Castor and Pollux into the Gemini constellation, where they live together to this day. So they're connected, and there is a great connection. There is a great love for information and gathering information and, you know, going off each other and, you know, doing the twin thing where they dress up differently or they dress up in the same clothes. Like it may be, kind of like a, I don't know, plaid jeans or something, or, you know, whatever it is. It's a very, very common twin thing. But indeed, it is all about the fun, lighthearted quality. intellectual quality, dual quality. That's really what the twin symbol indicates. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope that you got a lot out of it, and goodbye.